So I don't know about you, but when I saw that video of Sherri Papini, it's always fascinated me. Interviews and interrogations always do fascinate me anyway, but it really did fascinate me. I can't tell you how many times I've watched it, but it did get me thinking that I don't believe that people just start behaving like that all of a sudden. You know, when they get into their 30s, they don't just all of a sudden start doing things like that. So I just did a little bit of delving, because I thought there must be things in the past, and of course there is, which some of you may already know about. But there's quite a few instances. I mean, Sherri was born in 1982 in Redding, California. By the time she was 16, there was phone calls being made about her to law enforcement then. So I do wonder how much of a tight rein they put on her, or what kind of punishment she got for misbehaving the way she did at 16. I mean, on one of the occasions, she burglarised a father's home. And, you know, he did report it, but obviously to no avail. It's just nothing sank in with her. It still carried on, because not long after that, she was taking withdrawals from his bank account. So whatever punishment she got previous to that for burglarising his home, obviously it wasn't enough. And she also knew that there was the threat of it being reported. So I do wonder to myself, where did she think along the line? Because she was getting older, so obviously the punishment for these things gets more severe. Where along the line was she concerned about the outcome and where this was going to land her? Also, a sister found out once that, saw that her door had been kicked in. She always thought then that was Sherri. Sherri also used to harm herself and then put it down to her mother, saying that it was her mother that had done it to her. So there's absolutely there was no respect there for a father, and there was absolutely no respect for a mother, and no respect for a sister. However, it just continues and it continues, and obviously, as we can see, no respect at all for a husband or her children. Now, this does make me think a little bit, and I do wonder whether maybe some problems came from Sherri's mother. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, and I'll tell you why I am. Because in 2006, Sherri married a guy called David Dreyfus, and he was in the military. Now, it said that, she said that she married him for health insurance reasons. Now, he actually said that they only actually got together twice. One of them was to get married before he actually went away. Now, her mother says that they travelled the world together. Now, I don't think that David Dreyfus has got any reason to lie. He might have done, but I don't know why Sherri's mum would say that they travelled the world together. I can't say anything or anything from him where they've travelled the world together. And he said that he knows now that she did it for health insurance reasons. But I do actually believe that it was for health insurance reasons. However, when he came back, when he was coming back from the military like the last time, then Sherri told him that she'd met somebody else, which happened to be Sherri Papini, and that was the end of that. So she was only actually married to this David Dreyfus, from 2006 to 2008, and he also did say that she had told him on a number of occasions that her family, her growing up. So, but he realises now that everything that he's seen since, and the way that she treated him, because she actually moved in with Keith, I believe, before this Dreyfus had come back from the military, and she said that she'd moved in with him to see how they got along before they got married. I mean, that was more or less how she told him. So he didn't really believe much after that, because he realised, obviously, that she had a reputation then, of being a liar. So, and of course, even when she was married to Keith, she was getting prepaid phones and speaking to different boyfriends. I mean, before this Jim Reyes, who she went and stayed with during their time of going missing, even with him, she had a prepaid phone, and she was speaking to somebody else on prepaid phones before him as well. So she was already being disloyal to Keith anyway. But when I say that she was like this before, leading up to this, and since, I say since because if you look over that interview, it's continual. It's continual, even to her husband. I mean, this is a few years later. She knows that she's been dug out on a number of occasions where people have asked her things where it didn't add up. So she knew that she could have sat down with Keith one night and told him everything. Whether it was a good reason or not, she could have done that. But she didn't. She sat it out, and she sat it out. And even in that interview at the police station, she sat it out. And even when they went out, I'm going to show you bits, even when they went out of the room, she was still delusional enough to see if she could convince Keith that she didn't want these Hispanic women picking up, because the younger one was let her go, and without her she would never have held her children again. She was absolutely off the Richter scale with it. And even when they placed, because one of the detectives was more or less, he was telling her, do you want Keith to go out or do you want him to stay in? He was telling her, he was dropping her snippets of what was going to come up. Only she would have known that. Keith wouldn't have known that. And do you know the other thing that really irritated me as well watching this interview is that when they were showing pictures saying that they know where this room is and all this, like Keith was like this, like, so I felt straight from the start there was no way he was in on it, because he was like dead, and she was like, no, they should have both been like Keith, but she was like no. And then she was like pushing it back every time they came up with, well, we found this, and do you remember that screw in the wall and everything? Oh no, it was in the closet. But even then, Keith is like, you can see he's thinking, right, and then you can actually see him sort of sink back when she get again for the umpteenth time had been told that, asked, do you want Keith to go out, or, and she could tell she still took that risk. She still took that chance. I mean, that is one liar that will just hang on to dear life, do anything but do not tell the truth. And even when they dropped it on her knee, they gave her the warning and she wouldn't take it. Well, she looked at Keith first. I think she was expecting Keith to say, oh, I'll go and wait outside. But no. And you can see the change, the whole change in the interview just switches anyway. And then, of course, he gets off and waits outside. But yeah, she just will not. She won't give it up. So yeah, I've just put like pieces together where the pretty outstanding in the interview, and I've not done the full interview because it is quite a long time, but where you can see she's absolutely determined that she's not going to tell the truth, no matter what. No, all this with Keith. And listen, I know from the GoFundMe and things like that, Keith has used money from it and everything, and he's got everything he wants, everything, got everything. She's inside now. She's doing 18 months supposedly. And yeah, he was naughty. Yeah, I think he actually, he was naughty. I'm not defending him. He was wrong. But I just think maybe the temptation was too much. It shouldn't have been, because he had a good job. He had no need to do that. And he should have known better, and he should have known that he would have had to be answerable for where that money had gone. But he did it anyway. I mean, he might have done it thinking she was going to do it. I don't know, because she was taking money left, right and centre from different organisations. But he was wrong, and obviously he'll pay the price for that. But I just wanted to just go over this again and just show like the history of Sherri Papini. This was nothing new for Sherri. This was obviously the most dramatic and far-fetched. But yeah, do you know, she reminds me of a friend that I had at school, you know. Well, she's not a friend, a person that I grew up with in school. I won't tell you her name. She's probably not watching anyway. But honestly, I could not listen to anything that she was saying, because everything was like really far-fetched and, you know, again, you know, off the scale. And I always wondered like what happened to her. Not that I'm going to go looking and find out, because I don't want to know. In some ways I don't want to know, but yeah, she always had she was a victim, and this is what Sherri Papini is. She's a victim. She's everything is what somebody's done to her. You know, and do you know what? Through this as well, I did feel sorry for that Jim Race, because he does sound like a nice guy, and I know a lot of people think like, well, what was he doing? Why didn't he just do this and do that? I think he was besotted by her a bit, and I think he might have thought that the relationship was going to go back on course, because she had told him that, again, Keith had hurt her. Keith was doing things to her. So, you know, he got all tied up in this. She's a manipulator. And when somebody's hardened manipulator like Sherri Papini, she can convince anybody of anything. And if her own parents couldn't get her back in line when she was like 16, when, well, I believe a lot of this started before she was 16, then by the time she'd got to, you know, 17, 18 and all that, she was well versed at this game. She knows how to play the victim, and that's what she did with him. So anyway, I'll leave you to watch the show. Okay, bye.
Incredibly long road, but some stuff's come up. So we've always had the DNA out there in the world.
Sorry, Tom, before we get too far, obviously, just like always, thank you for coming. We appreciate you taking the time to come talk to us.
Yeah.
As always, your presence here is voluntary.
Yeah.
You can go at any time, and all we want is truthful statements, because it's a crime to lie to federal officers.
Oh, yeah. No, that's good.
Understood?
Yeah.
Sorry, forget about that part. So there's always been DNA out there, and we've done testing after testing. We've gone out to like the Parabon, which is a private company who does all like the genetics, and we've just hit wall after wall after wall. But recently we found a familia DNA hit. So what that does, it just tells us it came from a certain person. So like the mother or the father or a son or an uncle or however that is, it just hits that, like somewhere in this family tree is where the DNA comes from.
Okay.
So with that, we open up the investigation. We go into who could it be within the family. We started finding some interesting things.
Okay.
So one of the things that came out to us, is there anything in there that looks
Of interest or notable?
interest or?
To me, I see a table there that somewhat looks like something you described to me in the past, and then I see wood paneling. Talking about the room.
But that's still a valid memory, right? Is that this was the table?
Yeah,
A table like this was the table you were on when you were branded?
and we've been talking about that a lot because so many memories are so faded now.
It's been a long time.
It's been a really long time, so like details and things like that, we did the best that we could to take notes on it and all of that, but a lot of it's really hard.
Sure.
It's hard to think about.
Keith, if you could just wait not to say anything until,
Oh,
that way we don't influence.
It's hard because the other photos are distracting me. Can you give me another piece of paper, if you don't mind?
Another piece?
Yeah, I want to
Just like
cover.
this one upside down?
Yes. I want to look at them one by one. I think
Sure.
it's easier. It's a little distracting. There we go. Thank you. She's got that puffy under those eyes, but I don't know. Here is what's drawing me to this photo.
So on photo number 5,
Yeah.
smart this is.
So for the record, so
The younger one's the one that let me go
Okay.
and was the nicer of the two.
okay,
The older one was really abusive.
we're eventually at and where we are.
So were you able to find like where that house is?
Yes.
And what? Tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me more.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
That's where I was going next.
Do the top one or two.
She's the
It's
worst
been
in
a while.
the world with, just in general.
I am. I don't know.
But whatever, you walk in the door, on one left or right, you have a toilet, then,
I want to say it's on the left. I'm sorry.
that's fine.
I want to say toilet on the left.
Okay, so maybe a toilet on the left,
Okay, hold on. Toilet on the side.
toilet on the side, and then what's
Toilet on
next?
the side.
In general, are we talking about, okay?
Sorry.
That's okay. You take your time.
Not sure if I'm supposed to. Can I talk or not?
Sure. Unless she tells you to shush.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm trying to like get myself there and I
Just
don't.
as a reminder, I do remember when we went to my grandma's house,
Mhm.
you didn't like her tile because it reminded you of that. I think I sent. him
You sent us
picture.
a picture.
Yes.
That's why I would say we.
That's why I just want to remind her, because if you think of that, because I can't even think of what her tile looks like right now, but I do remember you didn't like that at all.
I just can't remember. I don't
Like
know.
I said in the beginning, we only want the truth, and so whatever is the best
I think ultimately,
understanding or memory that you have.
we're showing you all of this because ultimately this is the house that you were at. We talked to the people who live there.
Sorry.
We found the house. We found who was involved. We talked to who was involved. We talked to family who knows that you were there, and talked to a couple people or talked to one guy who did see you during this event. Unfortunately, there's a lot of truths. There's a lot of things that were said that we have always confirmed. That we've always said. There's a lot of truths, and then there's some unknowns. Like one of the simple ones, like, well, this description of the bathroom is just weird. Like that was like an argument in all of our offices where we were sitting there like this part's weird. Once we have all those things and we start talking to the person who lives here, who had lived there, who still lives there, start talking to his family and starting that whole investigation, peeling one thing back after another, doing the same thing we've done for the last 4 years. It led us to a specific person, but not a female. It led us to the car that picked you up, but not an SUV. So there's lots of different aspects that are truths and falses. And we're to the point now that nobody would have ever imagined that this would have blown up the way that it did. So we'd like to talk to you more about those things, and we can do it with Keith here, or we can ask Keith to leave. It's whatever you're comfortable with, so we can break down some of the problems. If you want Keith here, all we want is to have the truth. All we want is to be able to tell the truth. That's all we've ever wanted from day one. We talked with you for hours, we've been there, we've done all these different things, because the DNA came back, like I said, to a specific person. That specific person told us very specific things. His family then told us specific things. So if we can talk with Keith or without Keith here, what would you like? It's completely up to you. And like I've always said, I wanted you to have a voice. I wanted you to make decisions. I wanted you to control certain aspects. I think I told you that on the first interview we ever had.
It's been a long road, Sherri, but we just want to talk to you. And we can have Keith step out if that's going to make you more comfortable.
But it's up to you.
Do you want to step out or do you want to stay?
Obviously, I want to stay.
Or we can do a little bit of both. Talk to you alone first and then have him come back in.
And it's completely up to you. If I say certain things, what's Keith's reaction? Because you don't know what I'm going to say, right? So I don't know Keith's reaction either. So if I say other things like, oh, Keith won't worry about that, he can come back in. But I'd rather give you the opportunity to hear things, be able to judge it, because everything, right, I'm saying things to you that are making you nervous. It's making Keith nervous. It's changing the element, right? We changed the tone of the interview.
You can feel it already in the room from the way you walked into what you're feeling right now.
Well, I mean, law enforcement has always been an issue, so.
Okay.
So if you want Keith to leave, I'll ask Keith nicely to leave. If you don't want Keith to leave, then he can sit here and
let's press
listen to
on.
you.
We'll press on.
And we'll move on to the next stages. But I want to give you that opportunity first. But obviously everything's fearful. If you tell him to leave and what I'm going to say is benign, then we can pull him back in the room. Like, hey, Keith, come back in. This is what we talked about. So that fear of him wigging out. Why is she trying to hide something from me? There is none. If you can help me.
Yeah, there's no trick here. We're just trying to make sure that you're as comfortable to talk as you can be to talk to us truthfully.
They're asking you, they're not asking me. Obviously, I would want to be here and whatever needs to come out.
And you can change your mind in the future too. If you
But
want
no
to
matter what,
change
it's
it.
going to get out, so.
Like I said in the beginning, you're free to go. So if you wanted to chat with them privately, that's fine too, but we want to talk to you.
And we can leave the room, give you guys the room for a couple minutes. This next stage of things could be benign, could be like, we forgot to tell you this, and that's why.
He makes me feel safe anyway.
Well, if he
Absolutely.
makes you feel safe too, we can continue on.
Go
And then you can
Can I
change your
talk
mind.
to him?
Absolutely. And again, I just don't know what the pieces are. Yeah, we'll be right back.
You need to stop waiting around and telling me the truth. I don't want to know what's happening. Yeah, whatever you're doing, that doesn't mean it's tough to me.
I don't want to go down that road. I don't
Tell
want
me
to
why.
arrest her because she saved my life and she's the reason why I get to hold my children every single day.
Why?
Because she saved my life.
So you don't press charge. They still need to find out who it is. You're not making sense to me. Yeah. Or I can talk to him and tell him what you're thinking. So do you want me in the room or not?
And obviously,
Hopefully you've had a chance to chat briefly.
the fears,
Later, maybe. But I'd rather you just answer the question.
nothing that I'll say to you, I won't eventually tell him if you want me to.
I feel like you're in the driver's seat right now.
I think it's easier to control things once you know what the information is, to be honest with you, Sherri. So I can tell you what it is, say what it is when Keith leaves, and then you can say yes or no, whether or not you want him in there for the rest of it.
For right now, he's just, am I in the room or am I out of the room? So that's the.
And I'm to the point where if you want him here, we'll just go on with the conversation.
As long as you're not interrupting or
Yeah.
causing a
I'll
disturbance.
stay over here.
When you don't answer, Sherri, it makes me concerned because I want to hear what your answers are and I want to be able to understand.
The only way to control things is for us to know.
I don't want you to find her.
We're not gonna find her.
She's the reason why I get to see my children every day.
I agree, but we're not gonna find her.
She's the reason? What do you mean by that?
She means the younger one let her go, right? That's what you're referring to? We're not gonna find her. And we can just skip to the rock into the water and ruffle up the pond if we want to now. Again, this is your last this is the last time if you want to do this alone or with Keith. Keith's been through this also on a different level. So I'm ready I'm ready to move on and throw the dart and throw the rock and see what happens with the water. But Sherri, look at me. What do you want?
I don't want her to get in trouble.
She's not going to get in trouble. So the DNA came back to James Ray's. Your
The
ex.
DNA that was on you belongs to James Ray's.
The picture, and can I get the picture? The picture of the table is James Ray's little brother who died recently. We talked to him. He's been on a polygraph. We talked to everybody around him. We have the rental agreements, phone rental, the car rental agreements. We have everything that says that he said he told the truth.
That's James' brother, deceased Nick.
The reason why you lost so much weight is because you stopped eating. The reason why you got a rash on your arm is because you cleaned his house. The reason why the brand is because he went to the store, bought the branding tools, and branded you. The reason why your nose was broke is because of a hockey stick. I know all of those things, and I know there was no sex. I know all of that because he passed a polygraph test. That said, it's not an abduction. She asked me to come get her.
No.
I rented a car.
No.
I drove up and picked her up.
If that's not what happened, what did happen, Sherri?
I don't know. No, there's no way. It's James. There's no way. There's no
The
way.
DNA doesn't lie.
His DNA,
His DNA was on you.
his
There's
brother,
no way.
Robert saw you in the house while you were down there. While everything
Who's
spun out
Robert?
of control, his cousin. Why everything ran out of control on the initial.
There's no way.
It's 100% Robert's or James's DNA.
There's no way it's James. There's no way.
Tell me that it is.
Why are you saying it's not James? Why are you saying it's not?
He loved me.
What's that?
We were friends.
Mhm.
There's no way.
And he came and got you because you asked him.
No.
When was the last time you had contact with James?
His brother died.
It's him. There is no way it's him.
Well, it is
The
James.
DNA tells us that it was his
Well-
DNA on you.
The DNA alone says it's him. And when we talked to him, confronted him with the DNA,
He told us what happened.
he 100% told us what happened.
And gave us details that nobody else would know. Sure, I know this is a lot to take in. But it's not like we don't know the answers to these questions.
And the fear of Keith's reaction, obviously now he's in the room. Robert told friends and family you were there. His mom knew that you were there because of course it went news and everybody knew you guys dated. Everybody knew you guys had a relationship. So when it happened, of course, family reached out to him. He told him, yeah, she was here. But it said it hurt her, but I didn't hurt her.
What are you thinking, Sherri?
That doesn't make any sense.
Why doesn't it make sense?
What actions doesn't make sense?
A lot of it doesn't make sense.
Can we talk about those?
No.
James' DNA was confirmed on your clothing. I know you're scared.
Cannot believe that it is James.
I can't believe James told us the truth. That's what I can't believe. He passed a polygraph, Sherri.
So did Keith.
No, he didn't. He was inconclusive. And he was involved.
So James is involved, but I don't.
James picked you up. You called James to pick you up. You mailed him a letter with your address. You used a burner phone to call another burner phone for James to come and get you.
You're saying since you're married you haven't called James?
No, I have called James.
Because earlier you said you hadn't contacted James. His phone records show that you do. You did. The phones don't lie, the DNA doesn't lie, Sherri.
His polygraph doesn't lie.
So you can go a couple different directions now.
His story.
I've already told you lying to me is a crime. So you walk out the store telling lies, and that's a crime.
So we could do the polygraph and try to, whatever parts you're confused about.
Can you go? Is that what you said?
Can I talk to you outside real quick?
You have me there.
Wait.
That's fine. The fears of how out of control everything got, the fear of all these things is the reality.
Keith's gonna wait out there. Now's your opportunity. Based on your reaction previously, what you're telling me is you did not call James and ask him to come get you? Is that what you're saying? Because if that's what you're saying, I have to understand that. There are things he says that we can corroborate, and whatever you say, we're going to try and corroborate. But right now, I'm not sure what you're saying. You're just saying you can't believe it's him. If there was a valid reason for you to leave, let me know what that was.
James said you had your jaw broken by him, and that's why he came and got you, because you were in an abusive relationship.
My husband.
So, were you in an abusive relationship with him? Have you told other people in your life that, like China, that Keith has abused you in the past when that wasn't true? China told me that day 2, where there was an incident at a party that you got hurt playing, like, I don't know, Wii or Pictionary or something, and then you told other friends that Keith hurt you. When there was witnesses at the party that said that you got hurt during a party. Then you go tell James that you were being hurt, you were being abused, and you couldn't come forward because Keith has friends in law enforcement. If all of is that true? Everybody I talked to about James said he's the nicest person in the whole world. Yeah, he may be a hockey player, but he is the nicest person in the world. He's nice to a fault. I know lots of people. I don't know anybody I'd rent a car for and drive 9 hours for. Keith, James did that for you. Right now.
Deep down inside, Sherri, I know you know what's right and what you should do. And you should come clean. Although you might not think it was a good idea now, 2020 hindsight. At the time, why did you ask him to come pick you up? He understood that the DNA didn't lie, so he came clean. Now it's your chance to do the same. And if you don't, you're going to be shaking your head later and say, I should have told him what happened.
talk to me like that.
Like what?
There's so many fears right now that we can't even wrap our head around it. There's too many unknowns that we can't control.
I just don't know. There's just no way it can be James. I just don't know. I don't know.
It is James. That's not even the question anymore.
We know you were in that room. That's already clear.
You described everything in the room.
What you're saying is it wasn't James that came and picked you up by the mailboxes? Is that what you're saying? There's still two females? Is that what you're saying, Sherri? Are you saying that it was two females that picked you up? What's that? Every time I ask that question, it seems like you don't answer it.
This can't be happening.
We sat in a room, you drew out two people in a sketch, Sherri. We're to the point, did the younger female that you've always described, is she the one that pointed a gun at you? Is that true or not?
Oh, no.
You do know, you told me earlier. So earlier today, when we were talking, I asked you, what did the younger one do? You told me the younger one pointed a gun at you and let you go. That's what you said.
She let me go.
Yeah, you let yourself go. You let yourself out of the back seat, never even said bye to James. Never a thank you, never a nothing, just an out.
No.
Yeah, that's what James told me. Until you can start telling me that James is a liar and start pointing things out, James passed a polygraph.
This is my fault. It's my fault that I was talking to him. It's my fault that I was flirting with other men. It was such a stupid thing to do. I love my husband.
Flirting with
I love
other-
my children.
That's
It's
understandable.
just stupid for
Here's the deal though,
flirting with other
Sherri.
men.
Flirting with other men, not a crime. Lying to me today, yes, a crime. Big difference.
Telling your story of what happened to you isn't a crime.
And I know you're scared of what Keith is going to say and do, what's going to happen with you and your family. Those are real concerns. But we also need to understand the truth. And you're in the best position to give us that.
We've talked about Donovan, right? Remember?
So stupid.
Who picked you up? Was it James or was it a female that pointed a gun at you? Can you please answer that? You're shaking your head no.
I
So-
will not get. I'm not talking to you about that. I'm not going to get anybody in trouble. I've told you before. I do not want anyone to get in trouble.
Well, you're gonna get yourself in trouble at this point. That's where we're at. So either James
I didn't
picked-
do anything wrong.
I know you didn't do anything wrong. Right now, you're not telling the truth, which is doing something wrong. That's where we're at. James put himself on a polygraph. Talked to FBI agents. He talked with Peter and I for 6 hours.
Stan.
He told us everything, Sherri. You told us so many truths because you put yourself through.
They're not true.
They were true. You're
But
absolutely
you
right.
don't want to talk about the women.
So, but the one.
You're saying that it's James.
No, I'm
We're
not.
saying James's DNA was on you. We know you were in that room at his house.
Then who
So the
is
question
the
is-
woman? Then who is the woman?
Well,
Okay.
the
That's
woman.
why we're asking you. It
Did
was
the
a
woman
woman.
point a gun at you and put you in the car? Yes or no? Is that where we're at?
Don't remember.
You don't remember if a female pointed a gun at you and put you in the car? Is that what you're saying, Sherri?
I've always told you I don't remember getting in the car. I've always told you I don't remember getting in the car.
Correct. But did a female point a gun at you? Yes or no?
You know who she is. I know you do.
No, it was always
You
Keith.
know who she is.
Yeah,
You know
the
you
lady
do.
we showed you is another raise. No, I know James opened the door for you. Whether you want to forget how you got in the car, I'm okay with that. But you've already established today. That's why I asked you today. What did the younger girl do? You said she let me go and she pointed a gun at me. We didn't talk about how you got in the car. Right now I'm asking you, did a younger female point a gun at you Yes or no?
I know you know who she is. I am
We're-
not
we're on the
saying
wrong-
it. I don't want her to get in trouble.
She's not
I
getting in
know
trouble.
you know who she is.
You're getting in trouble.
I am
That's-
not. I didn't do anything.
Right? But right now, answer this one question. Did a female point a gun at you, yes or no?
I am done speaking to you until I talk to a lawyer. I will not arrest her. I am with my children because of her.
I'm disappointed, Sherri.
I don't understand. There is no way that chance he loves me.
You did love me. I agree.
Sherri, if you want to talk to your attorney, that's fine, we can wrap this up. If you want to keep talking to us, that's a separate story, but you said you wanted to talk to your attorney, so like I said, from the beginning, you're free to go and you can go. I would ask you one more question, just for your own welfare. Do you feel like harming yourself?
Welfare.
Do you feel like harming yourself?
No, I just want to hug my children and go home.
Okay. Well, you're free to go and do that. If you change your mind and want to come forward and talk to
This
us,
is all my fault because I talk to other men. This cannot be.
you might have come and served the document to you.
Alright. I'm the idiot husband that stayed around the whole time.
Well, there's not, it's still, we can't tell you a lot, honestly. I don't know what, I told Phil to let you know some of the details, some of the stuff coming out.
Can we, I mean, from my side, I feel like, my whole world's gonna flip upside down again. Why is that, why am I always getting held out of things? Like, why can't you just hit me with it?
I did, I told you.
I know, yeah.
Because this happened Monday. We're
No,
Thursday.
you're saying you can't tell me all this stuff.
It's still an ongoing investigation, so you're not gonna find out answers. I mean, there's just, that's the way it is.
Obviously, can you help me, didn't throw me a bone and then go, she made it up, is that where we're going, right? Or is she trying to come up with a whole nother?
We're not gonna give you any additional details. Obviously, you heard the questions, so you can
Yeah.
read through some of those and understand. You've seen some of the photos,
Yeah.
so you know some of the
Well,
investigative work
obviously you
we've
saw me, I
done.
was like, yeah, we found him.
And we did.
Yeah,
But you can also notice your reaction compared to her reaction.
yeah, no, 100%. That's what I'm saying from my side, but now you're telling me, okay, you guys can go home now. Well, do you think I want her anywhere around my kids or around me at all at this point?
And again, we've talked a lot. I don't know what the next stages of this are. That's
It's-
why.
It's not
that's
us
why I
together,
try-
I tell you that one.
Whatever those decisions are, I don't know.
But from we can all agree that she's not over there, then obviously if somebody can do something like that to their body and try to trick everybody that they're probably not fit
It
to.
was 4 years ago.
We can't get into that, but I would say, obviously, we are concerned about the welfare. We don't want any kind of domestic dispute between you two. We also don't want,
So give me a quick not legal advice, give me it from a sheriff. If I don't want her in my house tonight, what options do I have?
You'd have to get restraining orders. You'd have to get legal stuff.
I'm gonna tell her she has to go to her sister's or something. I mean, she's not going to my house tonight, and then I gotta call. The next stage of this, please give me the courtesy of telling me when you're gonna announce this so I cannot be at my home. and
Probably
make sure-
tonight.
Oh, god damn, you're going quick.
We have
Well,
to
I thought you
control
said it's
it.
ongoing now.
well,
We have to,
we gotta talk about that, but
it's gonna happen quick.
I understand,
because
he was
we
thinking tomorrow. I was like, okay,
We
that'll give me
blew
enough
up
time.
everybody in LA. This,
Is there anything you can tell me next? I thought you said you were gonna tell me something when I came back in. I'm like,
the person that we talked to down there is absolutely involved.
no, I know
Absolutely
that.
everything.
I know that.
So
I've never
that's
given
what
you
I'm
guys that
trying-
guy's number, so that, I thought.
So that's where we're at.
And then what did she say?
we're just gonna ask you to be patient, let it play out. I know it's gonna be really hard, but
I
it
know,
also
right?
makes
But
it easier for
little
you.
kids do, though.
Well, the little kids aren't gonna ask you as much as the media will,
No, I
and the
understand.
family members, your own family members.
No,
And
I
you can look at
understand
them with a straight face and say, look, they're not telling me yet.
But like, even Kettle right now, I was like, well, shoot, you guys can give her a ride in the house, I don't even want her in my car right now.
I don't know what Kel said.
And that's what he told me.
Are you saying you want us to help you with transport for her?
I
To get it back
think
to the
so,
house?
I don't think, I mean, you gotta give me a couple, I thought you guys were gonna call me back in here with her, so.
Well, she has to leave, so
Oh,
she's free to leave if she wants.
so I think we'll talk, and we'll probably, she's probably not gonna talk in here, so we'll probably go out to the car, and then I'll be like, I'm not going anywhere with you until.
If you guys wanna check out in the car and then come back up and tell us if you need assistance, let us know.
You have my
I
number.
appreciate that. I think I'm handling pretty good, I didn't punch any walls or nothing, I was just.
We
I'm in
appreciate
shock.
that.
I'm in shock. Okay. Alright, thank you.